I cannot tell you the specifics of that day because it was an absolutely normal day. I dropped 3 of my children off at their elementary school, proceeded down the hill to the stop sign, turned right, and then proceeded on to my normal route. As the university came into my view, I turned in, parked, got out of my car to gather my textbooks, but as I opened the side sliding door of my minivan, his little feet came into view as they dangled from his car seat. Somehow I was distracted, and instead of passing the university as I had done on every school day, I pulled in. You see, the daycare was in the same area as the university, so my normal routine was to pass it and then double back after I had dropped him off. I cannot tell you how I deviated. Was there a car in front of me that I followed as they turned in? Was I lost in a song on the radio? Was I going over a lengthy to-do list in my mind? Thankfully, I needed the textbooks in the back and discovered him in peaceful sleep. He could have been one of the statistics that day. He could have been one of the children that died in a hot car that season. Maybe the daycare would have called me, wondering where I was. But my phone would have been on silent as I sat in class. Maybe she would have been worried enough to track me down, but maybe she had her own distractions. I consider myself a good mother. My friends and family will tell you that I'm a good mother. The daycare provider would tell you I'm a good mother, and it would have never dawned on her that I had forgotten to bring my child to daycare. Much of the public's attitude about this sort of accident demonstrates a belief that this only happens to irresponsible people, people that don't care or mistreat their children. But we are all vulnerable to distraction, and that is how this accident happens. For this reason, we need to implement an action or a step that prevents this accidental tragedy. Accidental. A safety net for those moments when we get distracted and stray from our normal routine. My name is Lynn. I'm the mother of 5. I'm a registered nurse with an interest in public health and safety. And most importantly, I'm human. For the next few minutes, I'd like you to empathize with those that have suffered this tragedy and consider what safeguards you can put into action to prevent it from happening to you. Upon my conclusion, I will introduce you to a website that gives the names of statistics. They were someone's children. They do not have to be our children. I know what you're thinking. Mother of 5, attending college. I don't have those types of distractions. This isn't going to happen to me. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 53 children lost their lives in 2018 due to being left or being trapped in a car. 44% of the time, a caregiver meant to drop them off at daycare or preschool. According to Jan Knoll, certified consulting meteorologist at the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science at the San Jose State University, pediatric vehicular heat stroke, PVH, claimed 849 children since 1998. 795 of these have been examined through media reports to reveal 429 of them were forgotten by a caregiver. Only 18.9%, or 151 too many, were knowingly left by caregivers. So as you can see, far more deaths were accidental as opposed to negligent. So what can we do? These deaths are preventable. Implement a safeguard. A tip from the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, we'll refer to them as CHOP, suggests have your daycare call you if your child does not arrive on time. Ask that this be a policy for all the children in your daycare. In addition, CHOP suggests that you leave your purse or briefcase next to your child in the back seat, something that you need for the day. Those of you that remain skeptical about the possibility of this happening to you might be saying, isn't my child important enough to keep me from forgetting? CHOP understands that even the most responsible, well-intentioned parents can make a mistake. Yes, our children are important, It is not them that we forget. Chances are, like me, you think about your children most of the day. What was forgotten in many of these deaths was not a child, it was a step. It was probably a normal daily routine. I think it's also important to mention some of these deaths were related to children being trapped while playing in cars. Therefore, be as vigilant about the car in your driveway as you are about the pool in your backyard. Lock it up like you would put a fence around your pool. Make it inaccessible and discuss the dangers with the children that are old enough to understand, and ask them to help you look out for the ones that are too little to understand. Lastly, I think it's important to put a name to the statistics. Therefore, I ask you to visit a website called noheatstroke.org. It is a website that is supported by the National Safety Council, and it is updated by a meteorologist by the name of Jan Knoll. On this website, you will see the names of all children that have lost lives since 1998. 20 years worth of history. I pulled this from the website, noheatstroke.org, and as you can see, in 2019, we already have 52 deaths. 2018 brought the most deaths at 53, and we're almost there. We need to do something. We do not have to add any more names onto the list that you will find at noheatstroke.org. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time tonight. Please help me end these deaths. Good night.